Freud drew his theory of dreams and dreaming from his experience with his troubled patients. He proposed that we dream because the content of our unconscious minds, after repression all day, desperately needs an outlet. He claimed that dreams work on two levels, the manifest level and the latent level. You might think of the manifest content of dreams as what you see on the surface. So, day residue, along with other images from past childhood memories. You might think of the latent content as what Freud believed was juicy stuff that was really going on under the surface. Freud believed that the driving force of the unconscious was a libido, sexual life energy, libido. He believed the manifest content of dreams was camouflaged in symbolism, thus allowing the dreamer to express the largely sexual unconscious content of the dream. By the time you finish studying Freud's interpretation of dreams, it is difficult to think of any dream as entirely innocent. Anything cylindrically shaped is capable in his theory of symbolizing a penis, and anything with an opening is capable of symbolizing a vagina. Imagine you go to a Freudian therapist. It is likely that he or she would often ask you about your dreams, because Freud believed that dreams are the royal road to the unconscious. If during a session you replied, "I can only recall one since our last session, but it's not really about anything. I was just changing the oil in someone's car." Innocent. Really, dude? What is the dipstick doing in that oil shaft? And more importantly, whose car was it? Furthermore, if you did not accept the interpretation, it was believed to be even closer to the truth because, methinks the lady doth protesteth too much. Denial, right? Freud proposed that because dreams are protective disguises of unacceptable unconscious thoughts, dreamers themselves are not capable of cracking the code without the help of a professionally trained analyst. Freud's main technique involved having dreamers free associate on the manifest content. In other words, to report their stream of consciousness around the manifest content freely, continuously, and without pause to weaken unconscious censorship. Because the unconscious is heavily guarded and the dreamer is so resistant, cracking the code of the unconscious, he thought, often takes more than a year or two of therapy. Not bad job security for a therapist, huh? Freud's most popular book on dreams is titled The Interpretation of Dreams. He was a skilled writer with a good sense of humor, and so this book is a pretty entertaining and interesting read. Freudian dream analysis is still practiced today, but it is not nearly as popular as it once was because of its lack of empirical support. Note the biggest problem that became more apparent over time. Different analysts often come to different interpretations of the same dreams. Carl Jung was a close friend and colleague of Freud's until his later years, when their friendship broke off because of differences in theory. Being a psychoanalytic theorist, Jung agreed with Freud that dreams express unconscious content. However, Jung believed the driving force of the unconscious to be spiritual growth. He expanded Freud's idea of the unconscious to that of the personal unconscious, that which houses the individual's repressed feelings, instincts, and memories, and the collective unconscious, that which houses archetypes, which you might think of as natural wisdom, universal symbols. He felt that dreams reflect both types of unconscious content. He proposed that the most important archetypes include these four. 1. The persona. The persona is the mask of personality that we project to others. In other words, we put our best face forward, so to speak. Number 2, the shadow is the dark, repressed aspect of the personality that presses for recognition but is hidden from the self. 3, the animus is the male element in females that is guarded, repressed, and hidden from the self. And 4, the anima is the female element in males that is guarded, repressed, and hidden from the self. Jung disagreed with Freud on some important issues. First and foremost, he did not feel that the main driving force of the unconscious was sexual wish fulfillment. Instead, he felt it was personal growth. He felt that people have a driving, unconscious need to search for spiritual meaning, and that this is expressed in their dreams. Jung also thought of dreams more positively than Freud. He felt that the function of dreams was to reveal rather than conceal. He did not in any way believe that dreams foretold the future, but he did feel that they reveal current and future potentials of what might be. And while Freud believed that only a trained therapist could crack the code, the dreamer plays a larger role in Jung's analysis. He believed that the therapist helped, but both the therapist and the dreamer were needed for this process. Jung's main techniques were termed amplification and interior dialogue. He used two types of amplification. Personal amplification entails having the dreamer free associate with the images and ideas from the dream. Objective amplification entails having the dreamer describe how elements are a part of their culture. Interior dialogue entails having the dreamer actually hold interior dialogues with dream characters. Finally, unlike Freud, Jung emphasized that the therapist needs to study a series of dreamers' dreams for the best interpretation. He proposed that in this way, one dream can throw light on others, reoccurring themes can be revealed, and that a series can show a progression of ideas and events. His most famous two books about dreams are titled Dreams and the other, Man and His Symbols. But he was not as skilled of a writer as Freud, so his books are more difficult to read and digest.